The Earth is imperiled. Our environment is in a massive ecological crisis. The air that we breathe here in California is filled with smog. It's not healthy anymore. The waters in California, and 60% of the waters in California, the fresh water come from the Sierras, are filled with acid toxics. The land, which is the basis of our agricultural system, is poisoned by agricultural chemicals. The destruction must stop. We need to change our ways. The key is a new form of consciousness. We need to treat the earth with respect, with care, and with love. We need to change our ways. I was born in California. I have a cabin up at Echo Lake in El Dorado County. Last summer when I was up there, 1/3 of the trees were dead in just 1 year. It seems that we here in California have this wonderful heritage of the Sierras. It seems to be eternal and indestructible. Not so. Tom Knudsen, in a pioneering series in the Sacramento Bee, pointed out the entire ecosystem in the Sierras is under crisis, is under threat. The grizzlies, they don't come to the mountains anymore. The California condor, an extinct species virtually. The great horned owl is next. These are flashing indicators of an ecosystem in great danger. We need to change things here in California, particularly in the Sierras. I proposed a 3-point plan. Number 1, biodiversity. We need to inventory the biodiversity here, the plant life, the mammals. We need to know exactly what's here in our ecosystem. We need to understand the cumulative effects of what we've been doing, their impacts. Secondly, sustainability. We need to move in our economic policy away from exploitation to sustainability. We can't take more than we give, or we cut into the inheritance of our children. Forest policy, for example, we can't cut down every year more than grows. It just cuts into our capital. So we need to make major changes here in California. I want to fight to make those changes. To do so, I'm going to need your help. We need to move from a previous approach of exploitation, plundering, and destruction, and we need to move into a new ethic of environmental wisdom and sustainability. I need your help to make this happen in California. Everyone knows the economy here in California is in deep trouble. We have a $11 billion budget deficit. Unemployment is reaching 9%. We have millions of people out of work, and many more who are in fear they won't even have a job. So we need to make some immediate emergency measures to take care of people who are hurting and people who are in trouble. So I'm proposing 3 things. That on a short-term emergency basis, we have federal grants to the states to prevent drastic cuts in law enforcement, in health, and in education. I'm also proposing we have improved job training programs. I was a teacher for 20 years. These programs work, particularly training workers going from the defense industries into the peace conversion industries. And also I'm suggesting we improve low-cost housing, particularly if that means letting people live in their RVs, create their own housing, even if this means loosening building standards. But on a long-term basis, we have to change our overall economic priorities in this country. I am strongly in favor of community-based economics. So we need to change our priorities where all our money is flowing to Washington in a vast centralized system and bring that money back home. What we need to do is cut the federal budget. I am proposing a 50% cut in the $400 billion defense budget to get it away from wasteful military expenditures. I'm also proposing we cut the deficit. We're at $4 trillion at this point. We need to free that money up for creative investment. And finally, we need to end the enormous subsidies for favored industries. The weapons manufacturers, the oil companies, big agriculture, the banks and savings and loans. We need to restructure the economy and bring the money back locally. The key to the long-term viability of the American economy is sustainability, working in harmony with the carrying capacity of the earth. So I'm proposing, for example, that we look at our energy system. Energy is the lifeblood of any economic system. We need to go from fossil fuels and nuclear into more sustainable, renewable kind of fuels, like solar, like geothermal. We also need to rebuild our infrastructure. But that doesn't mean just more highways and more cars. What that means is ecologically sustainable infrastructure. So we need bikeways, we need mass transit, things of this kind. Also, we need to restore our resource base. This means investments in reforestation. This means purifying our water and keeping our land free of agricultural chemicals. So these are the kind of changes that we need. I'd like to subsidize organic farming. But if we look forward more into the 21st century and we make these sustainability changes, I predict a green renaissance. I really support small business. That's the heart of my economic program. That's where the creativity and the new job creation is. So I support tax credits for small business. I support small business development funds. I also really like community credit unions. I was the head of the supervisory committee of the Santa Cruz Community Credit Union, and we gave thousands of dollars to small business people who'd been turned down by the banks, and they made those businesses work. I also think we need to change our ideas to a more green kind of production. What this means is no toxic technologies. We also need to recycle more, conserve more, and have repurchase agreements for these recycled materials. We also need to reduce at the source incredible waste. For example, packaging. I also think we should look at business plans for communities as a whole so that we can green the cities. Then we need to look at our own consumption patterns. I believe in stiffer penalties for poisoners. I believe that we need to have much more informed green choices, like using the green pages that are out there to make better green choices and choose companies that are ecologically sensitive. We also need simpler, more natural, more durable, ecologically friendly products. So if we start today, we'll be well on the way to a secure, sustainable economy and the green renaissance of the 21st century. Education is the most important service that this state provides to its people. And we need to look to an education that's going to work for the 21st century. I was born in California and raised in California. I went to public school in California. We got the best education in the world at that time. But everybody knows that education is in crisis now in California. Funding is a major problem. Let me make my position crystal clear. I believe in full funding for public education in California. I'm a big supporter of Proposition 98. Let's maintain that base. But let's look at the priorities too, not just the question of funding. I think our priorities are backward. I went to the budget hearings in Sacramento on educational funding, and I discovered it's the administrators who make the budget. Too many times they were more interested in a new parking lot, a new road, and a new building than the students. Let's put students first, and then let's get the teachers in those classrooms to make sure they have all the classes at an affordable price so that they can graduate. That's the top priority. But I think we also have to look at what education in California should look like in the 21st century. The first thing is building into the curriculum more environmental education so people really understand what ecosystems are all about. In addition to that, we need to have true gender partnership. Get away from sexism. We need to have men and women working together on an equal basis. This state for too long has been run by men, this country as well. We need to get more women involved in politics and on the boards and commissions that make those decisions in California. Also, let's look at true multicultural democracy. Half the people in California are people of color. 25% are Latinos. We need to build a true multicultural democracy here in California, and the schools have a key role to play in developing the full potential of every Californian. The final thing is looked at globally. I went to Rio de Janeiro, the Earth Summit, and there we discovered that people all over the world agreed that despite the enormous global problems, we need to develop a new global partnership around the world to solve those problems. So, we want to get rid of ignorance, we want to get rid of sexism, we want to get rid of racism, and work together to build a new California based on gender balance, based on multicultural democracy, and based on a new global partnership. Politics in California today is failing. The two-party system is locked in paralysis. It's almost impossible to get any meaningful change through the legislature in California today. The basic problem, the root of the problem, is money. Special interests are able to buy every campaign virtually, and in the legislature, in the hearing rooms, and on the floor of the legislature, they're able to block almost anything important that we want to get through this legislature. Jesse Unruh said that money is the mother's milk of politics. I view it very differently. I think money is the toxin pollutant which is poisoning our system. Right now, 3 ex-senators, state senators of California, 2 of them are in jail, 1 of them is under indictment. This is a corrupt system, and we need to change it. We need dramatic reform in order for the voice of the people to be heard. We're behind several major changes. Number 1 is campaign reform. We need to allow citizen activists to run
for office without becoming indebted and selling their soul. Another thing that we need is public financing of elections. We do this for the president, why not do it for state officials as well? We strongly support term limitations. We like rotation in office, and we need fresh faces. We also need to ask the question as to why we can't change things in California. The reason is we need to work together as people to make democracy work. We need to work together as citizen activists to make those changes. People ask, why are you running as a senator for California? And I answer that I want to be the first Green senator in California for 3 reasons. Number one, I can bring in fresh ideas. I can bring in new approaches. I can change the political agenda so that we can green California. Secondly, I think it's important for someone to be on the inside to see how the system works and expose it, to tell the truth about what's really happening in the legislature. The third reason is every once in a while the legislature is deadlocked. One vote is the swing vote, and that really shows where green political power can be influential. And there's one other reason as well. I think it would be an inspiration to people around the country to see that just a regular citizen activist who's not an incumbent can actually win election. It would be a great inspiration and empowerment for people around the country to get involved as well. But one Green senator isn't going to make that much of a difference. Frankly, we have to go back to the Green value of grassroots democracy and personal participation. We all need to get involved. We need to walk those precincts. We need to make those phone calls. We need to help with the mailing parties. We need to learn those issues. We need to talk to other people. We need to lobby for the changes we want. So if we're really going to change the system, we need to get grassroots democracy back at the center of democracy. That's why I need your support in this campaign. That's why I need you to help fund the campaign so that we can get the word out. That's why I need you to volunteer to help for my campaign as well. I think we realize that the two-party system is failing dramatically. The vast majority of Democrats did not oppose George Bush and his Gulf War policies or his bloated military budgets. Here in California, the two parties are locked in paralysis, unable to pass a good budget even after they've drastically cut inadequate social services to begin with. The Green Party is a different kind of party. We have a different kind of vision. We want to create a society in which people live in harmony with each other and in harmony with nature. We want a society of social justice, of multicultural democracy, of grassroots democracy, women's rights, and a future that our children can count on. In order to do that, we need a Green campaign that will really impact the election. The goals of this campaign have been the same since the beginning: green education and party organizing. I need to be able to have the tools to send thousands of mailers out to the voters in this district to tell them about green values. I need to be able to make hundreds of phone calls so that we can talk to people personally about the kind of green society that we need. I also need to get contacts in each one of the 13 counties in this district so that people in those counties can talk to those contacts and organize the campaign in those individual counties. We need to get registration going in every city in this district. It's that kind of green organizing and green education that we have an opportunity to work with in this campaign. It's also important to recognize that Green Party's people raise money differently than the other two parties. They peddle their influence, they peddle their political favors to wealthy individuals, PACs, and corporations. We can't do it that way. We have to depend upon individuals like you to make individual contributions. That's the only way we can develop an organization that you can believe in and you can trust. I think we have a tremendous opportunity this year. The professional politicians are convinced that Greens don't have a chance. But voter discontent is raging. The discontent with incumbents is enormous. They're running scared for very good reasons. It's the best opportunity we've had in decades for alternative candidates. We can really surprise the skeptics if we work together. So I'm asking you to help me. If we could get 80,000 votes, we can win in this district, and we could shock the political establishment in California and throughout the United States. We have to make a good showing here in California because everybody's looking at California. It's the bellwether state. We have Green parties now in Alaska, in Hawaii, in Arizona, and New Mexico. But California is the bellwether state. We have most of the candidates here, and everybody's looking to see how well we do in California. So please help me out. I want to be able to make this the best campaign I can. I've already got a very good campaign group working with me in Nevada County. We're spreading out to other counties as well. We need contacts in every county, we need financial support in every county, and we need volunteers. If you want to become a volunteer for this campaign, it's a chance to learn new skills and a chance to make new friends. Please join us. Call one of our county contacts or call our office, our headquarters in Nevada County, area code 916-265-2553. Talk to Beth Levitt or talk to our campaign coordinator, Mike Mihalovich.
Join with us to help us take back California for all her people. We waited long enough for somebody else to do what needed to be done. The established political parties and special interest groups in California have made themselves wealthy and powerful at our expense. Why should we expect them to do anything different in the future? The Green Party exists in California because 90,000 of us signed a petition to make it a legal party in our state. With only 80,000 votes in our 13 counties, we can win this election to the state Senate. But it won't happen unless we make it happen. We can return grassroots democracy, peace, social justice, and environmental sanity to California, but we need all of us working together to do it. So please, pledge your support, time, money, whatever you can, to this campaign, because democracy doesn't work as a spectator sport.